When it became clear that we were going into a lockdown situation, I was structuring the business to close. And I was in detailed talks with our insurance company as to how to make a claim in a pandemic situation, and indeed were we covered. And that's when I had a phone call from Shropshire Council. We met the council that afternoon. Within 20 minutes we'd made the decision, yes, we will do this, and we agreed to take in the homeless.
When I was living rough on the streets, do you know what I mean? Lots of people would step away from you, which is understandable. When this virus came to light, it was like, boom, everybody was scared. Nobody knew anything about it. Nobody knows much about it now. It's an unseen killer, isn't it?
We're not interacting with people outside. We're not going off into other places. Obviously, we go to the shop. But, you know, for us, we're one big family in there, so.
When you first came here, did you think that people like Charlie and Mike would... I mean, they're so
first time I met
hospitable.
Charlie, I go by smiles and...
Yeah, you met me before you met Mike, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because Mike had to go...
Well, he had a goatee
family
then, he
business.
looks right dodgy now.
Trifles coming up later.
We've gone from the best part of 30-odd staff down to a nucleus of about 7. We've got the chicken in, being roasted, we've got the roast potatoes, we've got the vegetables in.
Yorkshire pudding mix. Tomorrow they're insisting they want an English breakfast for supper, but they have an afternoon tea in the afternoon and then an English breakfast for supper because they're craving stodgy food, unfortunately. It's just overwhelming what we've been given, really. Absolutely overwhelming. The first order that came in, it made me cry. I just stood and cried like a big baby. I was just so overwhelmed at the kindness of people. It's just absolutely superb.
We agreed with Shropshire Council that we would take all the people living rough on the streets in Shrewsbury. And the Shrewsbury Arc did a fantastic job in encouraging them to leave their natural habitat and to walk them, literally walk them with their rucksack from their natural home of a doorway or a park bench into a hotel that they'd only walked past for a number of years. Anyone outside, Jackie? I think they're outside.
I can't reach 6 foot. Go on. No, okay, I'm not kicking mine up there. You've got to kick my hand. Oh, go on again. I'm a toughie.
Oh,
my
easily,
God.
easily. You're very flexible, aren't you?
How old are you now?
I'm 35 now, and I'd have been 16, 17 then.
Wow.
Yeah, it was about 20 years ago.
I was at the path where I didn't know whether I wanted to be a chef or
Yeah.
I wasn't too sure.
Yeah.
But I worked for a chef here called Mick, and he was an absolutely
Mick Higgins.
brilliant bloke. He had a lot of
Yeah.
patience
Yeah.
with us,
Yeah.
and he taught us out best he could. It was a nice vibe here, to be
It was
fair.
really good, wasn't it?
It was good. Like
Yeah.
that.
So did you
Yeah.
recognise Jim when he came in?
I did. Over the years, we've probably employed 600-700 people, so I couldn't quite
Yeah.
picture where
Yeah.
I'd seen you.
It's for an agency as well.
Yeah,
For an
yeah.
agency, so.
But I knew he was a troublemaker straight away. I knew that immediately.
This is what you thought.
Charlie, just so you know, I've been outside with all the guys and the neighbour has come out again.
He's been messaging me. He messaged me last night, an absolute essay.
To me, it's clear as daylight that this is an individual that simply does not like what we're doing and does not want these people living opposite him. If he lived 400 yards away, he probably wouldn't mind.
They've shouted to our residents and they've shouted some very unkind words about them being ex-homeless people. And they've wound them up, which to the extent that they have reacted. And then it's hard for us to bring them back down again and explain to them that they shouldn't react, leave it up to us to sort it out. But they're used to it. They're used to being discriminated against. It is discrimination again.
It is 100%.
Yeah.
Has being in the hotel been different to what you thought it might be?
Yeah, kind of. Like when you get down in Manchester, do you know what I mean? You go in properties, like in hotels like that, they look at you like dirt, they think, oh, you're just a junkie. You're on the street, you're just a junkie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But in here, they're looking at us in a way, looking at us respectable and thinking. I see Mr. Matthews is looking at me like that, seeing at me thinking, well, he's hit a bad patch, but now he's come up here on a fresh start and he wants a fresh start and this, do you know what I mean? And looking Mr. Matthews' eyes, like he'll probably help me out. I've lived a dream. I don't feel like I've been homeless at all. Since I've come in here, I feel like I've got my life back.
You know, I'll be honest about it. I have walked past them, and I've thought to myself, you know, that you just need to go and get a job and come off the streets. This isn't. It's not acceptable to sit in the street begging for money all the time. Has this changed my thought way? Yes, completely, because I realise now that these individuals are there often through no fault of their own. As I've said before, they've just had a bad roll of the dice.
Mike, we've had another delivery. Do you want to come and have a look?
Oh, perfect fit.
Nice,
These
nice
trainers.
stuff, actually.
With the best dressed man in Shrewsbury now.
Do you know what? Working earning £1,000 a week,
dapper.
I didn't dress as well as I've just been home.
Yeah, half price, Chris. Do you want
nice.
a jacket for them to go with? Actually, that's really nice. That's, we're going to see you down the high street. Giving it some. Oh, that is very you, actually. Oh, no, yeah. Yeah, that's
You
nice.
see?
There's a mirror in the toilet if you want to go.
We'll be able to spot you now.
Do you think after this that you guys will stay in contact? Obviously,
course,
hopefully
yeah.
you'll get
I'll
accommodation.
love
We're a
that.
family.
We've like, do you know what I mean? To me, like Mr. Matthews and me, that giving us like, they see something in us. They want to see like, well, give them a chance, see what they can do, what skills they've got.
But I will
And
say
that's
this:
what-
it might be
that's
2 years,
Yeah.
and we might not see each other for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I tell you one thing: we see each other, we'll run across broken glass to get, you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, that's what it's like.
I'm actually enjoying this, to be honest with you. I'm finding it very, very rewarding. We're actively encouraging 2 individuals to actually apply for positions here. It'd be a nice end to the story that if we end up returning to normal work and returning the business to being a hotel again, that these individuals are offered employment and are able to work with us. That'd be a really nice end to it all.